ask you about the game in a second, but can you just describe, I guess, the sense of relief both for yourself and in that dressing room right now?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. It's not so much relief. I can assure you that. It's not relief, it's just a win, and the one that the players deserve. And that's the most important thing tonight, that they go home with the reward that they've probably deserved and haven't got in the last few weeks.
It looked like, especially on that first goal that Nikos scores, they all come over to you, they gave you a big hug as well. A release of emotion from everyone in the group. Is that what you were feeling?
I know we're together. You know, I don't need that. That's always nice to see the team celebrate together, that's for sure. But, you know, this group is very together, and during moments like this, it shows how together you are, and you can easily crumble because there's massive expectation and things don't go your way, and they haven't done that, and credit to them.
Nikos, I mean, he said it was emotional with both goals. Like, obviously, we know the pressure he's been under. Can you talk us through starting him again and how impressive, I guess, his response was to that too?
Yeah, today he showed his quality, and I expect that every week. He got his chance today. It was due a chance, and he's worked ever so hard at training to turn things around. Put a lot of work in the front third. It hasn't shown yet, and it's still not showing. But 2 goals tonight are beautiful goals. I'm pretty disappointed that there was another couple at least. I thought we could have been a little bit more clinical, but in the end, when that's been your Achilles heel for the last few weeks, to get 2, I'll take that tonight.
Are you so excited with what's to come? I know we've talked about quite a few times, but he was so involved in Nish in his first start. Looked like he just got involved in everything as well. Let's give you some really positive signs to build off as these weeks come on.
Yeah, I think one looked like he was enjoying himself out there, and when you score relatively early in the match, you just saw the team change, the mentality changed straight away, the confidence just grew straight away, and it's, you know, I've known that's around the corner, and it just showed that once we did that, we kept going. We didn't stand still. We kept pushing. We kept going at them. We kept creating, and in the end, it's apart from the last 10, 15 minutes, which were a little bit not how I would have liked. The rest of it for me was great.
Just give me insight into how Nikos is feeling at the moment. I mean, to go 15 games in all competitions without scoring, probably he would have had moments where he's doubting himself as well. And to now tonight score those 2 goals after such a long gap, how's he feeling now?
Look, I think that's a bit unfair when people start talking about 15 games without a goal. That was last season. And from the end of last season to the beginning of this season, there's been cup games, there's been friendly matches which he's been scoring in. So it's a little bit unfair to throw that at Nico. And it's been said a lot out there. But in the end, he puts his head down, he keeps working. And that's what great players do. They come and react like that and respond like that. And, you know, full credit to him.
Just his emotions after that game tonight, how's he feeling?
Oh, I haven't seen him yet, but I'm sure he'd be happy, relieved in a sense. But, you know, it's for him, that's just the beginning. You know, there's big expectations with Nico to lead our line and do what we want him to do. And in the end, that's just 2 goals so far in 8 matches, which in the end is not what we want. We want more than that.
You mentioned one runner as well. He just seems to be getting better and better and just showing the class that he's renowned for the world over. Is it sort of exciting just to see, you know, what he could provide the team going forward this season?
Yeah. One's, you know, you just see how hard he works. You know, you know what quality he has, and you just see him out there. He's everywhere. He'll drop back and get the ball, pick up the ball. He'll start an attack. He'll be on the end of an attack. He'll be playing a final pass, and you know he's enjoying his football and he's working really hard. And in the end, that's what you want from him: come in, contribute, and be a difference.
You said after the game with Paramount that you don't think the win's all about you. Don't you think at least you deserve some credit for the result that you and your boys put out tonight?
No, it's never about me. It never has been, never will be. You know, for me, it's about 18 players tonight that were out there on the team sheet, and the other 5, 10 that weren't part of the matchday squad. They're the ones that train hard every day, and they're the ones that deserve to be rewarded, and that's the most pleasing thing.
And also, well, the win tonight lifts you off the bottom of the ladder for now. Don't you think this is a good sign coming into the derby for next weekend against Melbourne City?
Yeah, it's a very good sign. It's a positive result. More importantly, it was a very good performance. And yeah, it sets us up now for a match next week against Melbourne City, which is another derby, the pre-Christmas derby. And, you know, if we don't turn up next week, tonight means nothing.
Well, we heard from Ed before about how he felt before the end of the game. His boys were seconds to all of the contests, to the second balls, and weren't quite able to match your side's desperation. And as you said before, it would have been very easy for the boys to let their heads drop amid a winless run, but they didn't. How have you been able to, I guess, maintain that spirit, maintain that desperation that was rewarded tonight?
Well, that's more about the culture that we have at this club and in this team. You know, that's what culture builds and creates. And in the end, you keep working. When things don't go your way, it's you know, you hit a brick wall and you got a choice. You turn back and run, or you find a way to climb it or go around it or break through it. And that's what they've done. You know, in the end, yeah, things aren't perfect at the moment, but we're a family and we know families aren't always perfect, but if they stick together, they can get through anything.
You mentioned you weren't happy with that last 10 to 15 minutes. Do you think anything changed in that last 10 to 15 minutes that maybe opened the door for Adelaide, or was it more Adelaide, they're down 2-0 heading into the last 10, 15, every team lifts at that point?
Probably a bit of both. I'd rather review first, because at the moment, you know, I don't know what went wrong there in terms of, you know, you lose a little bit of momentum, and, you know, there's still a couple chances for us to get them on a counter, which we don't. Maybe we could have managed the game better, but again, before I go and actually say what the actual outcome was of that, it's better I review the match. And, you know, in the end, every team's going to get a moment in the match where they get momentum and ascendancy, and they got it towards the end of the match. I would have liked the match to be dead and buried by then, but it wasn't. And that's when you don't pull teams away, it always opens up an opportunity for them to come back.
Particularly in that first half, it looked like you were getting such joy with transition. You were ripping them apart at times with it. Was that something you identified coming in, and how did you go about exploiting that?
Yeah, I think there's different ways to get ascendancy against opponents, and, you know, we try to be as fluid as possible. Sometimes you've got to break them down with, you know, momentum and build up. Sometimes you've got to hit them on a counter. And we train every day to be able to be adaptable and execute what needs to be executed on the night. And, you know, any team can turn up irrespective of the review you've done of them. Okay, they can turn up and do something different tonight. Tonight they obviously put, you know, De Cooley on the opposite side for a certain reason and played a little bit different to they have. And, you know, we coped with that. In the end, we've played an excellent first half, which gave us the platform and the foundation to keep going. We come out in the second half, score early. That's great mentality, and that gives you even more confidence, and that's the most pleasing part.
You mentioned about a platform. You said before, if you don't sort of back up in the derby, it means nothing. What sort of platform can a performance like tonight give you, just to try and kick on and get a bit of momentum going the other way?
Yeah, I think it's important for the players. You know, that momentum's for the players, the belief. They've shown that they've still got belief, a lot of belief, and that's just the reward. That builds their confidence, you know, and that's important. You know, confidence. Wins bring not only points but confidence and momentum, and that's really important. That, you know, when you do that, you get rewarded for it. You build on that, and you want another reward, and you want to love that feeling and do it again next week. You know, it can't be a one-off.
You have the way, I guess, line players you've talked about, Jordy Bell and very involved. You got Denny John Rowe available again next week. Is that a good proposition to have, selection headache, where he's going to have to earn that spot?
Yeah, it's a great headache. Let's see how everybody recovers. You know, Denny's a fantastic footballer who we've missed these last two matches. But like anything, it opens up opportunities for others to play. You know, young Ollie comes on again with a lot of energy. You know, he's only 18 years old, Ollie, and, you know, we throw him in big occasions and he stood up every time we've done that. So, yeah, there's players there that while everyone's out and unavailable, someone else gets an opportunity, and it's important that person takes their opportunity.
Just want to think, what were you thinking in that stoppage time when Dylan's header just seemed like time was standing still and just hit the crossbar? What were you thinking, man?
Yeah, luck's got to turn every now and again too. We, you know, in the end, we've been on the end of some bad luck, so every now and again it turns as well. So by the end of the season, it all pans itself out.
This might be a better question for JD, but given that he's not here, I'll ask you. Paramount cameras picked up Jason Gerriger in the stands multiple times throughout the game. Should we be reading much into that?
Yeah, you should read into that. Yeah, not really. He's back.
Signing him in January?
No, he's back on holidays. And, yeah, he's earned a nice break. It's lovely to have Jason here. We've also had Bruno here today, Paul Izzo. So it's lovely to have those players that were part of us not too long ago, being part of the game today. I saw him early in the change room, so it was nice to see him. But, yeah, no, there's nothing more to that.
Injury or fitness concerns coming out of this one?
I hope not. There's been nothing yet that's been reported, so I don't think so. Just maybe some tired bodies, and they should be tired after every match. So recover well tomorrow, and then come back ready to go for Melbourne City.